Thanks for turning us on this morning. Got to talk about this some more just because it's such a cool story. The Toronto Blue Jays have won 11 games in a row now after beating Oakland last night. The Jays are first in the AL East right now, ahead of the New York Yankees. The Yankees take on the Jays tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday in Toronto at Rogers Centre. Jays fever sweeping the city of Toronto and the country as the team tries to get back to the playoffs for the first time since 1993. For a great perspective on the hottest team in baseball, we are joined by Sportsnet's play-by-play man, Mr. Buck Martinez. Buck, how fun is it and how cool is it right now to be calling these games for the red-hot Blue Jays?
Ted, it's a lot of fun, and it's really coast to coast, like you mentioned. The excitement has gone from coast to coast with the Blue Jays fans, and the players, they've just come out very matter-of-factly and put together their second 11-game win streak of the season. And I think, the general manager, Alex Anthopoulos, has done a terrific job of making the transition, bringing in some star players in Tulowitzki and David Price, and it's really changed the mindset of this ball club.
It's also filled the seats at Rogers Centre. I mean, what's kind of the atmosphere when you talk about the Blue Jays in Toronto right now?
Well, Ted, it reminds me of '92 and '93. It's literally been like a rock concert every single night. Last night we had our 7th sellout. Actually, yesterday afternoon, the 7th sellout, and it's going to be 3 consecutive sellouts over the weekend. So, the fan base has jumped on board. And I think the interesting thing about this particular group of fans, most of them weren't even born when the Blue Jays last won. So it's a young fan base that's really enjoying this for the first time.
Yeah, and what a thrill it is indeed for these fans. You touched on a couple of the acquisitions that happened within the last couple of weeks. Troy Tulowitzki, talk about him and his impact with the Jays so far.
Well, it's been dramatic, and I think we probably even underestimated it watching him come in. But the fact that he has tightened up the defense so effectively has made the pitching staff better. And overall, during this current 11-game win streak, the Blue Jays have played a different style of baseball than when they had their original 11-game win streak back in June. In that June win streak, they scored 8 runs a ball game. This time, they've only scored 5 runs a ball game, but their defense is better and their pitching is dramatically better, and Troy Tulowitzki's had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, and talking about pitching, David Price, another great acquisition for the Jays, and he is on the mound tonight, isn't he?
He sure is, and he's never lost at Rogers Centre, which bodes well for the start tonight against New York. He beat the Yankees last time out when he pitched on Saturday in New York. 3 hits over 7 innings. He shut him out. In fact, the Blue Jays had 26 consecutive shutout innings against the Yankees when they swept New York in the Bronx. So I think everybody's excited to watch David Price tonight open up this series against the Yankees.
Yeah, no kidding indeed. I mean, what do you think it would mean to the ball club to get back into the playoffs in the 20-plus years it's been?
Well, I think it would mean everything. And, there were a lot of speculations about whether or not Alex Anthopoulos would be able to keep his job if they had another losing season. I think he's secured that now, and I don't think that's a question any longer, no matter what happens, because he certainly has done everything a general manager could do to put his team in position to win. But it's a national pride that we're feeling. And David Price made a great point when he made his first start here a couple of weeks ago. He said, "I have never pitched in an atmosphere as supercharged as I experienced in my first game on Monday afternoon here a couple of weeks ago." So he's been impressed by the atmosphere, and he's going to be doubly impressed tonight when he goes out to the mound for the first time to take on the Yankees here at Rogers Centre.
How about yourself, Buck? You played with the Jays. You've done radio play-by-play. You're doing television play-by-play now, also color as well during your career. I mean, are you getting caught up in the excitement or what?
Absolutely, Ted. When you sit there every single day and, you don't want to be a fan of the team, but you certainly appreciate what they have done. And I think John Gibbons has done a terrific job with this ball club. The players are easy to root for. They're a blue-collar team right now, and Donaldson and Martin and Tulowitzki and Bautista and everybody's got on board. They don't get too excited. You'll watch them tonight, and it's not a giddy group right now. They're very businesslike, but at the same time, they're having a lot of fun during this win streak, and I think they like being in first place, and I expect them to be in first place at the end of the weekend.
All right, very good. Thank you, Buck. This is going to be a big, big weekend for the Jays. They take on the Yankees, as I mentioned, starting tonight. I believe a 5:05 opening pitch. They play New York Saturday and Sunday afternoon. You can watch all the games on Sportsnet. Mr. Martinez, thank you so much for your time this morning, and I hope you enjoy the next 3 or 4 ball games that you get to call.
It should be great, Ted. Great to be with you.
Good stuff. Thank you, Buck. For more information, by the way, hit up our website, breakfasttelevision.ca. 6:56, checking in with the weather with Andrew Schultz. Man, it's hard not to be a Jays fan right now, Andy. The team is red hot.